Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into some research that's, well, it's like something straight out of sci-fi movie.
Oh,
So imagine, right, an AI that can not only read your chest x-ray,
okay, yeah.
but then explain what it sees, just like, a radiologist would.
Wow.
Pretty wild, huh?
It really is, yeah. It's really pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with AI in medicine.
It is, and we're going to unpack this new method called RadTex.
RadTex.
And our main source for this deep dive is this research paper. It's called Improving Medical Visual Representations via Radiology Report Generation.
Yeah, this research is really interesting. It tackles a problem that's been plaguing the field of medical image analysis for a while now.
Okay, so what's the problem?
Well, so traditionally,
Yeah.
to train an AI to analyze medical images, you need a ton of data.
Okay.
We're talking thousands and thousands of images,
Wow.
each carefully labeled by experts.
Oh, wow.
So it's a really time-consuming and expensive process.
Yeah, I can imagine. And even with all that data, to get the AI to, pick up on those subtle details that can make all the difference in a diagnosis, that's got to be tough.
Absolutely. And then, even if it can make sense of the images, right?
Right.
How do you get it to explain its findings in a way that, doctors and patients can understand? That's another big hurdle.
Yeah, like you need the AI to be a medical Sherlock Holmes, able to solve the case, but then laid out all the clues in a way that anyone can follow.
That's a great way to put it. And that's precisely where RadTex comes in with this unique approach,
Okay.
using something called bidirectional captioning.
Bidirectional captioning. Okay, I'm intrigued. Break that down for me. What is bidirectional captioning?
Okay, so imagine you're trying to learn a new language, right?
Mhm.
If you only read a book forwards, you get the basic gist of the story,
Right.
But if you also read it backwards,
Yeah.
you'd start picking up on the nuances, the way the words connect,
Okay.
and the deeper structure of the language.
So it's like getting this multi-dimensional view of the language.
Exactly. And that's what bidirectional captioning does for RadTex.
Okay.
It trains the AI to understand and describe images by generating these text descriptions, both forwards and backwards.
Oh, interesting.
This leads to a much richer, more nuanced understanding of that visual information.
So it's not just matching an image to a label,
Right.
it's actually having to articulate what it sees, almost like it's writing a story about the x-ray.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating is that by learning in this way,
Yeah.
RadTex can actually generate reports that are surprisingly similar to what a radiologist would write.
It's like we're teaching this AI to be like a medical storyteller.
Yeah.
But does it actually work?
Yeah.
Can it really compete with a trained human radiologist?
Right. That's the million-dollar question. And the researchers put RadTex through its paces,
Okay.
with some pretty rigorous testing. They wanted to see how it would perform on a variety of tasks,
Okay.
like identifying specific conditions in chest x-rays.
Okay, so like pneumonia,
Yep.
collapsed lungs, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They tested it on a whole range of conditions, including atelectasis,
Botulectasis.
which is a partial collapse of the lung,
Okay.
cardiomegaly,
Cardiomegaly.
large heart, and edema,
Idea.
fluid buildup in the lungs.
Gotcha.
They even tested it on COVID-19 cases.
Wow, that's a pretty comprehensive exam for an AI.
It is,
So how did it do?
honestly. The results were remarkable.
Oh, wow.
In many of these tasks, RadTex actually outperformed other leading AI models,
Really?
particularly when it came to those subtle, almost imperceptible details
Yeah.
that are so crucial in a diagnosis.
Huh?
For example,
Yeah.
it was 15% more accurate
Wow.
in identifying the severity of edema compared to the previous best model. So that's significant.
That is significant. That's incredible. It's like RadTex has this superpower for spotting things that other AIs and maybe even some humans might miss.
It really does. And here's another impressive finding.
Okay.
RadTex achieved all of this with a smaller model size
Okay.
than some of its competitors,
Oh, interesting.
which means it's potentially much more efficient to run, which is a big deal when you're talking about real-world applications in healthcare.
Yeah.
Smaller models require less computing power
Right.
and can be deployed more easily in settings with limited resources.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's not just about, how smart the AI is, but also how efficiently it can learn and operate. Who needs a bulky supercomputer when you have a lean, mean AI machine?
Exactly. Now, remember how we talked about RadTex being able to generate those human-like reports?
Yeah.
The researchers actually included a really compelling example in their paper.
Okay.
They they showed RadTex a chest x-ray
Okay.
and asked it to analyze it.
All right, let's hear it. What did the AI doctor have to say?
Well, RadTex successfully identified several key findings,
Okay.
including the position of a catheter,
Mm-hmm.
the presence of pleural effusion, which is fluid buildup around the lungs,
Okay.
and it even correctly ruled out pneumothorax,
Oh, wow.
a collapsed lung.
That's impressive.
And it presented all of this in a clear, concise report, very similar to what a human radiologist might write.
So it's like having this AI assistant that can look at an x-ray and not only tell you what it sees, but also what it didn't see.
Yes.
Which can be just as important
Absolutely.
in ruling things out.
It can. And to make things even more interesting, they've also developed this technique called prompting.
prompting?
Where they can guide the AI to focus on specific parts of the image.
Oh, so it's like you can say, hey, RadTex, pay extra attention to this area right here.
Exactly.
I think something might be up.
Precisely. This prompting technique allows doctors to leverage the AI's analytical power in a more targeted way, further enhancing its diagnostic capabilities.
That's amazing. But even with all these advancements, I'm sure there are still some challenges, some limitations to consider.
Of course.
Every superhero has their kryptonite, right?
Right. So while the results are incredibly promising,
yeah,
it's important to remember that RadTex is still under development.
Okay.
There's still a lot we need to learn and refine before it's ready for prime time in clinical settings.
So what sort of challenges are we talking about here?
Well, like many AI systems, RadTex can sometimes generate outputs that aren't actually supported by the input data. In other words, it can sometimes hallucinate findings that aren't really there.
Oh, that's a little unsettling. So it's like the AI is seeing ghosts in the X-ray.
Right.
I'm picturing it like pointing out a tiny fracture that doesn't exist, or maybe a miniature alien hiding in the lung.
Well, maybe not quite that dramatic.
Okay.
But it is a concern that researchers are actively working to address. One approach they're exploring is carefully curating the data that RadTex is trained on.
Okay.
Ensuring it's as accurate and representative as possible.
So it's like you're giving the AI a healthy diet of data to prevent it from developing like these weird algorithmic cravings for things that aren't real.
Exactly.
I like that.
They're also working on ways to improve the AI's ability to distinguish between real findings and those that might be artifacts or noise in the image.
So it's all about refining the AI's perception, helping it to see the world, or at least the world of X-rays, more clearly.
Exactly.
It sounds like there's a lot of potential here, but also a lot of work still to be done.
Right.
It's pretty mind-blowing just thinking about the possibilities.
It really is. This research with RadTex, it really gives us a glimpse into the future of radiology and maybe even healthcare as a whole.
It really does. It's making me think, like, what happens when AI can analyze images and generate reports with this level of detail and accuracy?
Yeah.
That's comparable to, or even surpasses, like, human experts.
It's a question a lot of people are grappling with right now.
Yeah.
Does it change the role of the radiologist? Does it free them up to focus on more complex cases or spend more time with patients, really delving into their individual needs?
Yeah, it's almost like AI could become this incredible tool, right?
Yeah.
That empowers radiologists to practice medicine in a more efficient and maybe even more human-centered way.
Exactly. And what about the implications for medical training?
Oh, yeah.
Will future radiologists need to learn how to work alongside these AI assistants?
Right.
Understanding their strengths and limitations? It's a whole new frontier.
It is, and it's kind of exciting to think about how this might transform the field. So to wrap things up, we've been exploring this amazing new AI system, RadTex, that's using this clever technique called bidirectional captioning to analyze chest X-rays and generate reports that are, well, surprisingly similar to what a human radiologist would write.
And one of the most remarkable things about RadTex is its ability to capture those subtle details, making it particularly adept at tasks like assessing the severity of edema. And it's achieving this level of accuracy with impressive data efficiency.
Right.
Meaning it doesn't require those massive data sets that have been a bottleneck in AI development.
We talked about how this could be a game changer for areas with limited access to specialists, potentially leading to faster diagnoses, improved accuracy, and better outcomes for patients. But of course, we can't ignore the challenges, like those hallucinations we discussed, where the AI might report findings that aren't actually present.
Those are definitely hurdles that researchers are actively addressing.
Yeah.
And it's important to continue to study and refine these systems, right? To ensure they're as reliable and robust as possible before widespread clinical implementation.
It's all about moving forward thoughtfully and responsibly.
Absolutely. But even with those challenges, the research on RadTex is incredibly exciting. It offers a window into a future where AI is working hand in hand with doctors to make diagnoses faster, more accurate, and ultimately more beneficial for patients.
So for all of you listening, keep an ear out for more developments in this field.
It's changing fast.
The future of AI in healthcare is just beginning to unfold, and there are sure to be some amazing breakthroughs in the years to come.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into RadTex.